Yes. So, welcome everybody in our session 2, next session of probability theory, in which we are going to learn the concept of conditional probability, multiplication rule based on that, and then we will be moving on to a very important part, that is the concept of Bayes theorem. All statement, application, as well as proof, that all things we are going to deal with in this session. Okay. So let us start with the conditional probability. Let me share the whiteboard at first. Or let me have the statement at first over here. What is written in the note that let capital A be a random experiment where in which capital A1 and A2 are two events of it. Okay, such that for this event A2, probability of A2 must not be equal to 0. Then the conditional probability of A1 on the hypothesis that A2 has already happened or A2 has already occurred is denoted by probability of A1 given A2, and it is defined to be as, or it is to be calculated as, probability of A1 intersection A2 divided by probability of A2. So let us have it on the whiteboard. If I write what we are taking in this part, that is the conditional probability. Conditional probability. That means we are going to find the probability of an event when there is a condition, probability. Yes. So what they have, how it is defined it as, let E be a random experiment. A random experiment is there, which is denoted by E. R dot E stands for random experiment. Okay. So in which A1 and A2 are two events. A1 is an event, A2 is another event of this random experiment. Now, what is unconditional probability? Conditional probability of A1. Conditional probability of A1 on the condition, or you can say on the hypothesis that A2, the event A2 has already occurred, is given by or is denoted as probability A1 given A2. It will be read as probability A1 given A2. It's not division, it's not by. Okay, never read as probability A1 by A2, but it is probability, it is actually probability A1 given A2. That is equals to, or that will be evaluated as probability A1 intersection A2 divided by probability of A2. And that's why, if you can see the statement, it is written over there that for the event A2, probability of A2 must not be equal to 0. Why it is so? Because it is coming in the denominator. Okay. So this is the conditional probability, sorry, conditional probability of A1 on the condition or on the hypothesis that A2 has already happened. That means after happening of A2 has already occurred. And then we need to find out the conditional probability or the probability of A1. Then it is known as the conditional probability of A1 given A2, and it will be evaluated simply as probability of A1 intersection A2 divided by probability of A2, provided probability of A2 must not be equal to 6. Okay. So this is the conditional, this is the concept of conditional probability. Now from here only, just the extension of this one, that comes the concept of this multiplication rule in probability. So let's see what it is. What is the concept of multiplication rule? If I go through the theoretical part, what it says that multiplication rule on probability. For any two events, A1 and A2, of a given random experiment, probability of A1 intersection A2 can be written as probability of A1 given A2 into probability of A2, provided PA2 or probability of A2 must not be equal to 0. Similarly, if since it is commutative, A1 intersection A2 will always be A2 intersection A1, so it can also be written as probability of A2 given A1 into probability of A1. So this implies only from the definition of conditional probability. If you look the definition, if you have a look on the definition of conditional probability, what it gives us, let me go to the whiteboard, what it gives us. What can I imply from here? I can imply that probability of A1 intersection A2 can be written as probability of A1 given A2 into probability of A2. Or else we can write it as probability of A2 given A1. If A1 is there given A1, then it will be multiplied with probability of A1. So this is nothing but, this expression is nothing but known as multiplication rule on probability. Multiplication rule of probability. This is our multiplication rule in probability theory. So conditional probability and then comes the multiplication rule. So keeping this in mind or keeping the definition in mind of the conditional probability, we are now in a position to move on to the concept of Bayes theorem. Okay. So first we are going to see what is the statement of the Bayes theorem, and then we will be slightly move on to the proof, and then we will do the application part, some problems based on Bayes theorem as its application. Okay. So let us move on to the notes for having the statement of Bayes theorem. So let me go to the statement of Bayes theorem. Yes. Yes. Look at the statement of Bayes theorem. What it says that if A1, A2, An are n number of events which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive, then for any event A for which probability of A again must not be equal to 0 is equals to probability of for two results hold with this condition. What are the two results? First one is probability of A can be expressed as a summation. What is that summation? That summation I varying from 1 to n probability of AI, probability of A given AI, and what else? That probability of AI given A equals to another conditional probability equals to probability of AI into probability of A given AI divided by probability of A. So after having a look on this statement, let us write the statement at first, or let us have the statement in on our whiteboard, and then we will move on for the proof of the theorem. Okay. So I think I can run this now. So we are moving on to the next part, that is Bayes theorem. As it is a theorem, so there may be, as we know, that a theorem must have a given part and then a part which is to be proved. Okay. So what is the given part in the statement of the Bayes theorem? The given part is there are n number of events at first. A1, A2, An. Then what is given? Something given about these events. What it is? That these events are mutually exclusive as well as these events are also exhaustive. mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Okay. Then what to prove? This is our given part that there are n number of events for which the events, which type of events they are the mutually exclusive as well as exhaustive set of events. Now what we require to prove, we need to prove that first is probability of A. Okay, obviously one more event A is also there over here for which is not being included in these n events. There is a separate event for which probability of A must not be equal to C. Right? So if this is our given part, then we need to prove that probability of A equals to summation I varying from 1 to n probability of AI into probability of A given AI. And second part is the another conditional probability, that probability of AI given A equals to probability of AI into probability of A given AI divided by probability of A. Again, see, since probability of A is there in the results of the denominator, that's why we will be taking probability of A must not be equal to C. Okay. So let us prove one by one. So proof now. Now one by one, let us take the given part. In the given part, see what is given to us, that these n number of events are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So as we have learned already in our previous part regarding the exhaustiveness of the events. So when the events are exhaustive, then from the exhaustiveness, what I can write, that union of the events gives us the total sample space. So from the exhaustiveness, I can write, since the events are exhaustive, I can write A1 union A2 union dot 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 AN equals to the total sample space S. Why? Since events are exhaustive. Right? Now what A is, these are the n number of events. Now A is also there as an at some other event. Okay. So let us take the intersection with A on both sides in the next step. So A intersection A1 union A2 union dot 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 AN is equals to A intersection S. Right? Is equals to A intersection S. Now let us see the left hand side. Utilizing, since these all events act as a set. Okay. All the events, as we have also learned in our previous session, that all the events they are acting as some set. So in set theory, according to the distribution property, what I can write, that A intersection A1 union A intersection A2 union, likewise going on A intersection AN. And the right hand side will be A intersection S, means S is the total sample space and A is a particular event. That means A belongs to S only. Sorry. So if I take the intersection of these two, I will be getting it as A only at the right. Now what? In the next step, taking probability on both sides. So let us take the probability on both sides. So it will be probability of A intersection A1 union A intersection A2 Likewise, union A intersection A n, and the right hand side will be as it is probability of A. Now look at the left hand side. If I write it to be as over here, I'm getting it over here, right? So what about the left hand side over here? It is probability of, I can write them as probability of A intersection A1 plus probability of A intersection A2 plus going on like this, probability of A intersection AN, and that will be equal to the right hand side remain as it is, that is probability of A. Now, from where I have written the probability of their unions becomes sum of their probabilities. Why? Since the events A1, A2, AN are mutually exclusive. If A1, A2, AN are mutually exclusive, then obviously, what about A intersection A1? This is also an event. A intersection A2. This is also an event. A intersection A3. This is also an event. And likewise, if I move on like this, A intersection AN. What about these events? If A1, A2, AN are mutually exclusive, and if for each of the events I have taken the intersection with the same event A, then these events will also be mutually exclusive. And since the events are mutually exclusive, all we know from a previous results, from a result we have already proved in our previous sessions, that probability of their unions becomes sum of their probability. Okay. So since I can write over here, since the events are mutually exclusive. Next is what this implies. See, I'm writing it as the very first term is probability of A intersection A1. So I'm writing this as probability of A1 into probability of A given A1. Only the first term. Now, second term, I can write it as probability of A2, probability of A given A2. Likewise, going on like this, the nth term will be probability of AN into probability of A given AN. Why it is coming? It is coming from the definition of conditional probability, or else you can say from the multiplication rule, because multiplication rule says that probability of A1 intersection A2 becomes probability of A1 into probability of A2 given A1. So likewise, utilizing the multiplication rule, or else you can say utilizing the definition of conditional probability, this follows. And obviously the right hand side will remain as it is, that is probability of A. Right? So now see, our work is done for the first part. What it is, that probability of A becomes sum of all PAIs into PA given AI. Obviously, where I varies from 1 to n. Right? So see, the first part is done. That is from summation I varying from 1 to n, probability of AI, probability of A given AI, or probability of A. Now let's have the second part. Second part follows in just one more step. If I go from here, that is, in the second part, we need to find out the probability of AI given A. So utilizing the definition of conditional probability, what I can write, that this will be equals to probability of AI intersection A into probability of AI. Probability of AI given A, divided by probability of A. It's not multiply, it is divided by probability of A. Right? So next is what? Now since see the denominator is already done. That is, we require probability of A in the denominator. It is probability of A. So what about the numerator? Again, utilizing, as we have utilized the multiplication rule over here. Utilizing the multiplication rule, I can write it as the numerator becomes probability of AI into probability of A given AI. And the denominator remains same, that is probability of A. So see the second part, the second result is also done. That is AI give probability of AI given A becomes equals to probability of probability of A given AI divided by probability of A. So this is our first part of the result and this is our second part of the result. So this is all about the statement and proof of the Bayes theorem. Right? Now let us go to the problems based on the Bayes theorem. That means the problems on conditional probability. So let me share with you a particular problem. Yes. So look at the problem that we can see on the screen that there are three identical boxes, 1, 2, and 3, contain respectively 4 white, 3 red balls, 3 white, 7 red balls, and 2 white, 3 red balls. Then what is happening? A box is chosen at random and a ball is drawn out of it. If the ball is found to be white, what is the probability that box 2 was chosen or box 2 was selected? So what is going on? There are three boxes actually. A box is chosen among them. There are three boxes containing some white and red balls separately, and a box is chosen out of them, out of the three boxes, and then a ball is drawn out of it. Now they are saying that if the ball drawn is found to be white, what is the probability that box 2 was chosen? So see, this is a case of conditional probability. We require to find out the probability that box 2 was chosen when the ball is already drawn and it is found to be white. So what we need to do is, in each and every problem of Bayes theorem, that first and foremost thing that we need to do, that is according to the problem, we need to define all the events carefully. If all the events are defined, then the required probability will automatically be come out. Say for example, say I'm going for this particular example only. If I go to the whiteboard and let us see, the box 1 contains 4 white, 3 red balls. So I'm writing on the whiteboard. I'm rubbing this. Yes. So box 1 contains 4 white, 3 red balls. Similarly, box 2 contains box 2 contains 3 white, 7 red, and 3 contains 2 white, 3 red. Okay. So box 2 contains 3 white, 7 red balls, and box 3 contains 2 white, 3 red balls. Now what is happening? Among the three boxes, one box is chosen and a ball is drawn a ball. And what is happening? It is found to be white. Then we need to find the probability that box 2 was selected. Okay. So let us first define all the events which is happening over here. The first event that I am defining is say B1. Be the event that the ball drawn, the ball or the box 1 is selected. Let it be write it like that. That box 1 was selected. Even that box 1 was selected. Box 1 was selected. Similarly, B2 be the event that the box 2 was selected, and likewise B3 be the event that box 3 was selected. Okay. Now what else? One more event is going on, that white ball is drawn. A be the event that ball drawn is white. Right? Okay. Now what will be our required probability? We need to find out if the ball drawn is white, then the box 2 was selected. So our required probability will be probability B2 given A. Now, according to the condition of, or according to the result of Bayes' theorem, what I can write it as probability of A given B2 into probability of B2 divided by sum of all probability of BI into probability of B given BI. Obviously, where I varying from 1 to 3, means 3 events are there. Okay, B1, B2, B3. So now one by one we need to put on the values over here. Let's see. Now actually it is probability of B2 into probability of A given B2 divided by the total sum. What is that? Probability of B1, probability A given B1 plus probability of B2, probability A given B2 plus probability of B3, probability A given B3. So one by one we need to put on the values. All we know probability of B1, B2 and B3. This is B3. So what is probability of B1? B1 means box 1 was selected. So among the 3 boxes, if I am going to select the first box, the probability will be 1 by 3. Similarly, probability of B2. Among the 3 boxes, if I am going to select the box 2, the probability will be 1 by 3. So I'll write 1 by 3 into probability of A given B2. What is this? That B2 has already happened, then probability of A. What is a B2? That box 2 was selected, then what is the probability of getting white ball? A, because A is white ball, drawing white ball. Is the event of drawing white ball. So if box 2 was selected and getting a white ball from it, its probability is, because in box 2 there are 3 white balls and 7 red balls. So total, how many white and red balls are there? Total 10 balls are there, among which 3 are white. So probability of A given B2 therefore becomes 3 by 10. Similarly now probability of B1 is again 1 by 3 into A given B1. Box 1 was selected and white ball is thrown. So it is 4 by 7. 4 by 7. Similarly, plus B2 is again 1 by 3 into A given B2 already done, that is 3 by 10, plus B3 is again 1 by 3 into A given B3, that is, I think all you can do now, 2 by 5. So evaluating this, whatever be the value in terms of fraction is coming, that is your required probability B2 given A, and that is nothing but probability of box 2 was selected when a white ball is already drawn out of it. Okay. So in this way, if we can define all the events carefully, then probability will automatically be done in case of conditional probability problem or Bayes theorem problems. So let's have a look in some more Bayes theorem problems. Okay. So let me share the problems at first. Yes. If you can see the screen that a problem is written over there. Let's go through the problem at first and then we will do it. A company has three factories. The first one is producing 3% defective items. The second one is producing 5% defective items. The third one is producing 10% defective items. From the warehouse where all items are stored, one item is selected at random and it's found to be defective. What is the probability that it was produced by the second factory? That means the same thing again we need to do. Okay, there are three factories which are producing uh, some a particular items or particular articles they are producing, but in their production there are some defective items. Okay, so by the first factory the defective percentage is 3. From the second factory 5% producing defective. From the third factory the defective percentage is 10. Okay. And what is going on that all the products are kept in a warehouse and then at random a particular item is selected and it is found to be defective. So we need to find out the probability that that particular item which is found to be defective already, that is produced by the second factory. So let us first define all the events. Let's see what they have done. That let E1 be the event that the item is produced by the first factory, A2 be the event that it is produced by the second factory, A3 be the event that it is produced by the third factory. And one more event is going on. What is that? That we have already selected a particular item from the warehouse and that is found to be defective. So another event is B, is the event that the item is defective. So our required probability then becomes what? Required probability is probability A2 given B, because B, the defective item, is already selected and it is produced from the second factory, that is A2. So it is probability A2 given B, right? And according to Bayes theorem rules, we can write it as probability A2 or probability B given A2 into probability A2 and divided by the total summation, that is probability of A1 B given A1 plus probability of A2 into probability of B given A2 plus probability of A3 into probability B given A2. Now let us one by one evaluate this. What about probability of A2? Probability of A2 means the event that A1 be the event. What is our A1 event? The item is produced in the first factory. Okay. So what is A1? What is A2? Among the three factories, that particular item is produced by the first factory. That is 1 by 3. Again, probability of B given A2. defective item produced by the second factory. Defective item produced by the second factory, and that percentage is already given to us. How much defective item they are producing in the second factory? 5%. That means 0.05. Okay, 5 by 100 or 0.05. Similarly, probability of A1, that means among the three factories, if I am going to select any one, then it is again 1 by 3. And B given A1, defective item produced from the first factory, that is given to us as 3%. So it is 3 by 100 or 0.03. Similarly, this is already done, and 3, probability of A3 is obviously 1 by 3. And B given A3, that means defective item from the third factory is 0.10. So in total evaluating this, we will be getting in fraction it as 5 by 18, and that will be our required probability. Okay. Next problem, let's see. Now I think all of you are in a position to tackle out the problems on Bayes' theorem. Let's have the next problem. In a mold factory, machines A, B, and C manufacture respectively 25%, 35%, and 40% of the total output. So there is a bolt manufacturing factory, and 3 machines are working over there. And all the 3 machines are producing 25% by machine A, 35% by machine B, and 40% of the total output by machine C. Now, what is happening? Of their total output, 5%, 4%, and 2% are defective holes. That means 5% are defective from the produced by machine A, 4% are from machine B, and 2% are from machine C. Now, what is happening? A bolt is drawn at random from the product and is found to be defective. What is the probability that it was manufactured by machine A? So again, we need to define the events at first carefully, and then we need to move on to the required probability. Okay. So let us define the events. If I go to the whiteboard, let me define the events at first. 3 factories are there. They are manufacturing the balls. So let us define it as, let A1 be the event that bolt is manufactured by machine A. B1 be the event, sorry, A2 be the event. A2 be the event that bolt manufactured by machine B. And A3 be the event that bolt manufactured by machine C. And one more event that bolt is defective, let B be the event that bolt is defective. Bolt is defective. So what I need to do is, what is my required probability? Bolt is found to be defective, that's already done. And what I need to find out, that it is by machine B. So our required probability is probability A2 given B. So by conditional probability, it will be probability A2 into probability B given A2 divided by the total sum, that is probability A1 into probability B given A1 plus probability A2 into probability B given A2 plus probability A3 into probability B given A3. So now one by one we need to put on the values. Probability A2. That means the bolt is manufactured by machine B. So machine B, how much it is manufacturing? Machine B is manufacturing, if we go through the problem once again, B is manufacturing 35%. So it becomes 35 by 100 or 0.35. You can write it as, or you can go through from here also. Probability of A1, they have found that it is manufactured by machine A. That's why they have taken it as A1. Okay. So we are going to find out that it was manufactured by machine B. So I'm taking it as A2. So it will be 35%, 25% and 40%. All right. And then the defective bolts will be 542. Okay. So probability of A2 is become 0.35 into probability of B given A2. That means defective bolt manufactured by second machine. It is 4%. So 0.04 or 4 by 100 also you can write. Similarly, probability of A1 that is given to us as 25% into B given A1, defective bolt from A1 that is 5% plus B A2 that already done into 0.04 plus A3 it is 40%, so 0.40 into B given A3 is 2%, so it is 0.02. So after evaluating whatever the values we will be getting in fraction or either in decimal points, this will be our required probability. So this is the way by which we can deal with the problems of Bayes theorem. That means the only thing that we need to keep in our mind that we need to define the events carefully, all the events, whichever is going on in the problem carefully, then the work is done. Automatically be done. Your required probability will automatically be come out, and then utilize the results of Bayes theorem for the conditional probability, and then move on for the particular problem. Okay. So that's all for this session, and we will be meeting in our next part. Thank you.